at the whole fancy area of wine and dine and food and wine and stuff. We're on the floor because, well, we need to at this point. Okay, and as you see behind me, this is the festival center here. In the old Wonders of Life Pavilion, they have their festival center. This is where all the different festival centers stuff does take place. All the seminars that you see, not the food and wine pairings, but the wine seminars, the food seminars, the tequila and mixed drinks, and all that fun stuff, all behind me. As well as you can purchase tons and tons of different food and wine gifts, food and wine, as you see back over there, as well as just cookbooks and you name it. They have tons of stuff here that you can enjoy and take home with you, wine glasses and throws and pins and food and wine. So yeah, if you're going to be here at Food and Wine, definitely check out the Food and Wine Pavilion. If it's the second time you've been here, you already know about this most likely. And this is where you're going to find those wine and food seminars. You know, they're only $10, $15 or so per person. Definitely something to invest in, something to do. Learn a little bit more about your food, learn a little bit about your wine or your drinks or stuff along those lines. And yeah, definitely get a lot more out of Food and Wine if you do that. See you guys in a bit. We are here from the Ghirardelli, from Bean to the Bar, over in the festival center. They don't have a lot of stuff here. It's primarily chocolate based or things that go well with chocolate, as you'd expect. It's not the chocolate studio, but the Ghirardelli chocolate experience. The primary thing I get here is this delicious thing here. Melted drinking chocolate. It's not a chocolate in the same sense that melted candy bar is something you dip your strawberries in or anything along those lines, but it's primarily for drinking. It's not like hot chocolate. It's a lot thicker than hot chocolate is. Very, 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 very sweet. Very, very bitter. I think it's about 72% from what the girl was saying. So it sort of fits in between the two. But it's very, very smooth. Very, very yummy. And here's Mrs. Tasel to enjoy some. If you enjoy hot chocolate, this is the drink for you. If you enjoy chocolate, just as a general, it's very, very smooth and very enjoyable. I give this a solid 4. I don't think I could drink a lot of it because it is, well, chocolate. But and the Mrs. Tasel, 4 for her as well. So solid 4 from both of us. If you're here, it's only $3, so it's pretty inexpensive considering what some of the other things are causing here, and it's a little tucked out of the way, so make sure you visit the festival center, make sure you come all the way to the end here and check out Ghirardelli's. Enjoy some delicious drinking chocolate. So we're doing these two together because, well, German and beer, so there's that. So what we're having here is over at Germany. We have 2 things. We have the apple strudel with vanilla sauce. It has some golden raisins as well as a Riesling Spätzle, which I forget exactly how that translates. I know that one of them is summer, one of them is spring, one of them is fall. At different times of the year, they will do the different wines, and it gets more and more appley and more alcohol-y as you go along, in one direction or the other. Also over in Germany, in the Brewer's collection, we have a Pilsner, a Netterberg, Hefeweizen, and as well as also a Hefeweizen, the Schauhofer, which we'll get to in a bit here. But first we're going to try the the alcohol over in the Germany, which, as I said, is the Dr. Haydn Oppenheimer's. I'm butchering this. It's been a long time since high school German. Riesling Spätzle. So it's a white, pretty sweet. Reminds me a lot of like an apple Sauvignon Blanc almost. It's not overly sweet. It has just a little bit of sweetness to it. Pretty good. I would say give it a solid 3, maybe a 3.25. It's a solid white. It's good for drinking by on its own or along with any other dessert type objects, which we have in front of us. So while I try that, let me hand you over here to Ms. Tasel with her review.
So I love Riesling. I would totally give this a 4. It's very good. It's refreshing, especially the heat has kicked it up completely here. The last few days we've been somewhere around like the low 70s, high 60s. We're now hitting in the 80s, and it's definitely getting hot out. The sun is just, I can barely put my arms on the picnic table. It's so hot. So this is very refreshing right now. Giving that a 4.
Okay. While she's been doing that, I've been having the strudel. Huge pieces of apple. Good light vanilla sauce, not overly sweet. The crust is fairly thin. Only thing I don't like about it is the raisins. I'm not a huge fan of golden raisins, just the way it works. So, unfortunately, I'm just going to have to give it a solid 3. I can eat around the raisins, so it's not that big a deal. But that's my own personal thought. If you're fine with raisins in your apple strudel, you're going to enjoy this. Me, not as much. So I just give this a plain 3 for dessert.
I would go with a 3 also, but my reasonings are different. I feel the dough is a little hard. I feel it should be a little softer and flakier than it is, and I noticed that when I was actually cutting it for us, and it's very hard. So, yeah, 3.
Okay, so that is Germany. Over in the Brewers collection, we did the Flight, so we got all 3 of the different beers available, as well as I picked up the an extra one of the Hefeweizen, because we are a fan of the Hefeweizen over in Germany in the beer garden, the Schaffenheifer, which is a traditional German fruit and beer. It's been around for at least since the 70s, if not earlier, where it's half fruit and then half beer. Traditionally, it's done with grapefruit. This one is a pomegranate, except I'm not sure if we should start with that one, just because that is going to be sweeter and everything else, and the rest of these. Oh, you've already tried these? Okay. So this first one we're going to try here is the Radenberger's Zweckel Pilsner. And it's a beer. Not overly a fan of beer, as you guys know from watching these. I would even say that's just pretty standard beer. Have to give it a 2. If you enjoy beer, maybe different, but I'm not a beer guy, so that just tastes like a normal beer to me.
2.5.
2.5 for you? Okay, so 2.5 for her. Next up is the Hefeweizen. Hefeweiss, not Hefeweizen. Okay, that one's a little bit more bittery, a little more hoppy. Still just tastes like a beer, though. Gonna have to just give that one a 2 as well. I'm not a big beer guy, probably why I'm gonna like the third one a lot more. But yeah, it just tastes like a beer. Normal beer you get any other place. Just give it a 2.
I gave it a 3.5. I actually do like the taste. I don't think it's very hoppy. I think it's pretty nice. Very smooth.
Okay, so that leads me to the third one, which we bought 2 of. So there's one in the Flight, and one we bought completely separate because I know I'm going to enjoy this. Or at least if I don't enjoy this, I'd be very, very surprised. It's the Schaffenhofer Hefeweizen pomegranate beer, only available down here at the Food and Wine Festival. They don't sell it anywhere else. They might sell it later. By the time being, the only place you can get this in the States is here at EPCOT's Food and Wine Festival. That's delicious. Pomegranate. You still get that alcohol beer flavor in the background. It's a little more watered down than I expected, actually. It's still quite good. Not as good as the regular Schaffenhofer. I give that one a 3.5. I'm actually a little disappointed, but maybe my expectations were a little high. Just because pomegranate is a little bit more muted of a flavor compared to grapefruit, which is these big, bitter flavors. Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to go with a 3.5 on that.
I'm actually giving it a 4.5. I think it's better than the original.
Lies. She's lying. No, everyone has their own opinions about different stuff. Okay, so that is Germany and the Brewers collection. We have a couple more stops here to go, a couple more groupings of booths to enjoy. We'll see if we can get the rest of these done today. If not, we'll still have a little bit of time tomorrow to deal with that as well. So for us here, I'll see you a little bit later. But this is another trio area. So at the moment we are at Wine and Dine. We are at the Chocolate Studio and the Cheese Studio. So we have a large amount of stuff to get through, as shown by all of that. There's a lot to get through, both of alcohol and of other things. So let's start off here over at the Wine and Dine Studio. So the very first thing we have is a pulled duck confit with Camembert bean ragu and Zinfandel reduction. So we're gonna here. A little more duck. Don't mind if I do. A lot of times duck can be very fatty. So like a fattier, either a fattier chicken or a more chickeny pork. This is very tender, very soft, very succulent. A lot of flavors. I'm not sure I get it a whole dish of this, but luckily I only have a small portion. Not because it's bad, but because it's so rich. It's a really it's not heavy. I don't even know if it's heavy. It's just heavy is the best word I can think of, and it's not right. I would have to give dense. No, not even dense. Just very. It's so rich and just I don't know. Very good for explaining stuff here. It's what you get towards the end of the day. I'd have to say I give this probably a 3.5. I'll go 3.75 just because I couldn't eat a lot of it. I wish it was a little less rich, but it is duck, so it's not supposed to be. It's duck confit. It's duck cooked in duck. So
I would definitely give this a 3. It's good, but like you said, I don't think I could eat a whole plate of it. It's too much.
Okay, next up is the trio, the cheese trio, the artist palette. That is. It is 3 wines paired with 3 types of cheeses, and I believe you're supposed to eat them sort of in pairs here.
Right,
so we'll do that as such as well.
I'm gonna give you the pieces.
Okay, so this first one I believe should
Is
be
going to be the fromage de Fourny d'Excellence with toasted baguettes.
Okay, hopefully you guys could hear that. Okay, so it's a very soft cheese. I kind of expected that to be softer. I'm not sure why. The bread, I mean, not the cheese.
And this is a Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon Blanc with the cheese. Okay, the cheese, incredibly creamy. Almost like butter. Which when you put on bread is what you want, so.
It's almost like a brie, but the consistency, I haven't tried it yet though.
Yeah, it's a fromage.
Fromage means cheese in French, my dear.
It's a soft cheese though. Sauvignon Blanc kind of mellows it out a little bit. I don't think it gives much by itself. Yeah, it's like butter, right? Yeah. I give the cheese probably a 4. I could eat that on most breads without any problem. The Sauvignon Blanc, very kind of watery, but then again, I'm not. It goes well. I'm doing this in 3 layers. I'm doing the cheese, I'm doing the wine, I'm doing the pairing. The cheese itself, as I said, a 4. The wine by itself, probably a 2 for me. Together, though, I think that the wine actually. Well, you know what? I couldn't eat a lot of the cheese by itself, but with the wine, I think I could. Because it brings down that fattiness quite a bit. So, I'll give it the pairing itself a 4.
So I'm going to give the cheese a 4.5. It is absolutely delicious. The pairing I'll give a 4 also, because the Sauvignon Blanc is not the greatest, but it does work well with it. So it brings it down.
Okay. Next up here we have the original blue with apricot jam. That's going to be paired with the St. Francis Chardonnay, correct? I think that's right.
Yep.
Okay, apparently that's right. So, yay! I got something right there. Okay, so blue cheese, not known for its subtle flavors, known for to be pretty strong flavored. Very, very crunchy bread. Like eating a crouton. Not the best blue cheese I've had. Granted, I've had some pretty good blue cheeses. I know the apricot's supposed to make it a little sweeter. Cut through some of the strong blue cheese flavors. Give it a 3. Definitely better than your average blue cheese. Sort of blue cheese I'd expect Disney to serve. Especially since they're adding the apricot jam on top and everything else. Give it a 3. 3 for the cheese, that is.
I would, it's good blue cheese. With how strong it is nice to have that apricot with it, because it does kind of mellow the blue cheese flavor out a little bit. So, I'd probably do the same, about a 3.
The Chardonnay by itself is pretty good.
Really good, actually.
And together they do pretty well as well. Probably give them together probably a 3.5. Probably give the Chardonnay itself a 3. So good Chardonnay, solid Chardonnay. I'm not a big white drinker, as you've probably guessed from some of these reviews at this point. Overall, not bad, not bad. 3.5, maybe even more to 3.75. But again, it's really kind of hard given how strong blue cheese is with everything else. So, okay. So next up here we have a point raised toma with honey. Looks like a very hard cheese, kind of like Parmesan cheese almost. You can see it's like a block. And I swear the bread keeps getting crunchier and crunchier. It's biting back. So much so I'm having trouble tasting the cheese because I'm trying to bite through the bread. Cheese is a lot softer than I expected. Not as sharp as I expected. It reminds me almost of a really good cheddar, like a Vermont white cheddar. Give it a 3. Pretty good. And we're pairing this with the the Malbec. Malbec has a nice spice to it. Malbec is one of my more favorite wines at the moment. A little peppery. Probably give that a 3 as well, and the pairing probably a 3.5. So they definitely do complement each other there.
I actually really love that cheese. I think it's delicious, especially with the honey. So I'd probably give that cheese itself a 4.5. The Malbec's very smooth. Altogether, I'd give the pairing probably a 4.
Okay. So that ends the Wine and Dine Studio part of our tour. It's so much food. We have a lot of food and a lot of drinks. Luckily, we're already sitting down on the ground, so that we can't really fall down much further. Okay, next up here is the Cheese Studio, which we have another, let's go to the cheese palette because that onion tart is huge. Okay, so this is a savory caramelized onion and bruised garlic and fine herb cheese tart with cold arugula salad and aged balsamic on top. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's not what we were doing, were we? Yeah, let's do that just because we just did cheese. I'm kind of cheesed out right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna eat this like a cake or a pie. I got it.
It's huge.
So this is just one little piece of it. Hopefully I can really show off just the size of this thing.
Which, by the way,
it's huge.
It was $4.50, and this thing is gigantic. Worth.
It's heavy
You
too.
got a lot for the money.
Very, very heavy. So, okay, so this is what we have here. This is a German dish. When I was younger, we used to have this caramelized onion rotten thing that my grandparents would make. That's this dish. I forget what it was called. It's sour. It's basically like a creamy onion baked dish. And I'll try to put it down in the description when this all goes up on YouTube. But that's what this is. Now I'm going to be a little bit biased here just because it is bringing back a lot of childhood memories of my grandparents. But it's good. I keep biting my lip. It hurts. I've bit my lip like 4 times now. Ow. It's good. I'm probably going to give this, probably a little biased here, but I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4.
A 3 for me, just because I don't like things that are too heavy, but I feel like that's... Alright, so the flavor, probably 3.5. I'll go 3.5. Because I don't want it to be completely biased on the fact that I think it's too heavy. But it's good.
Okay, so that's that. We're switching over to the cheese. I have to sit up a little bit because my legs are starting to hurt from sitting down like that all the time. Oh yeah, that's definitely bit myself there. Okay, so
the first one.
This is the first one. Okay, so the first one here is the cream puff. What she said. My lip is not going to cooperate right now. It's bleeding. With Boursin garlic and fine herb cheese and an apricot jam with it. Okay. Ow. That's reacting with that. Trying not to let that interfere. It's a savory cream puff. Cream cheese. Is that goat cheese?
That is amazing.
No, just an herb cheese. So it's very, very light, very, very, it's good. I could easily see that to be an appetizer at a dish. I might even want to try this at home.
And this brand is found in pretty much every supermarket across the country. They have a whole thing on the side there. It's that Brussels. It's in your deli area where they usually have the stacks of cheese. We get the garlic and herb usually when people come to visit, but I am going to be getting this one. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's the ones that usually come in those little fake chunks of pre-creamed cheeses. But yeah, it's pretty simple. It's a cream puff filled with herbed cheese, which is kind of nice. Next up here we have let's see here. Next up we have the smoked salmon pinwheel with the boursin shallot and chive cheese and everything seasoning. Yeah, I don't think this is getting cut. I think we just need to take a bite, and then we'll take a bite from there. That's smoked salmon. Don't get a lot of the cheese out of it. A little bit. Much softer than a hot dog, though. All I'm tasting is the smoked salmon. It completely overpowers the dish.
Yeah, I can't get any of the cheese out of that.
Yeah,
It's all salmon.
It's all salmon. It's all that salty salmon, too. Yeah, that's...
Are we rating this as a whole or each bite?
I would say we should probably rate each one separate, just because...
I didn't give a rating on the last one.
Okay, so the one for that one, I would give a 4. Very, very good. This one I'd probably give a 1.5.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to...
Sorry.
Okay.
I'd probably give the profiterole one a 5. That was so creamy, melted in my mouth, was delicious. The apricot on top was amazing. This one definitely a 1. Oh, so...
Yeah, I mean, for a cheese trio plate, this is not a good showing. If this was a salmon dish, probably give it closer to like a 2.5 or something like that. But since it's supposed to be a cheese trio, it falls very, very low of the mark there. Okay, last up here is a strawberry macaroon with boursin pepper cheese. Again, here I'm not really tasting much of the cheese. I'm getting creaminess, which is probably where that's coming from. But I'm really just tasting strawberry, and that's pretty much it. The cheese just gets lost. It's good, it's sweet, but it just kind of gets lost.
I feel like they shouldn't have used a strawberry jam on top of a strawberry macaroon. That's really, it's just compounding that strawberry flavor, and you're losing the cheese.
Yeah, it's too strawberry, too sweet. Unlike the apricot jam with the blue cheese, there's no contrast. It just all gets lost in there. So, as its own thing, I'd probably give it a 2. But because it's supposed to be a cheese trio plate, a cheese featured object, probably only give it a 1.5.
I would probably give it a 2.5. I do like the flavor. It's good. It's just overpowering the cheese. The dish as a whole, I'd probably give it 3 because besides the profiterole, which was amazing, the other 2 were just not up to par.
Yeah, altogether, I'd probably give the entire dish maybe a 2.5 for me. As a cheese trio, it fell quite below the mark. The other dishes were fine, but they weren't a cheese trio. Okay, so here we also have 2 different drinks. We have a Gunyer and a Pinot Noir. Do you remember which was which at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the Gunyer?
Yep.
Okay, so it's a white, so already I'm a little biased, unfortunately. I'm also biased because it's a little acidic and I still have that cut on my lip from before. Okay, ignoring that part. Good acetones. It's something you definitely need when you're eating a lot of cheese. The fatty creaminess to cut through. Has good overall flavors. I taste a little bit of lemon, a little apple. Good finish. It doesn't linger too long. Probably give that a solid 3. Definitely would cut through everything else. So there's so that would be my score on that.
3.5.
Okay, so 3.5, and this one. Okay, the problem is we have so many here that they all look very similar. Okay, so this one here is the Pinot Noir. Not bad, not bad. Very dry on the finish. if I was eating the cheese, it probably would go quite well with it. Just because you need something to sort of cut through that fattiness, that creaminess. As its own drinking, I couldn't just sit there and drink this. It's too dry. Probably give it a 2.5. Better. It would have been better as a paired beverage or paired thing to eat along with it, but as its own thing, it's too dry for me.
Probably a 2.5.
Okay, that is the Cheese Studio. Next up is the Chocolate Studio here on this long strip of stuff. We have a couple different things here. We have a let's do that one next. The liquid nitrogen chocolate almond truffle. So the way they do this is they take a chocolate mousse, they take it with a scoop, they drop it into liquid nitrogen, and then take it out and then hit it with a hammer. And then they drizzle all the other stuff on there. So as you see, it's been melting a little bit here, so it's not quite so hard. Drizzle caramel on top of it and some nuts. Imagine it's the monorail. It's a very strong chocolate mousse. If it was a little colder, if we got to it a little quicker, probably be almost like a very soft ice cream. Even now, though, it's a very cold mousse.
So I personally think that it's about a 4.5. It's very decadent. The flavors when it hits your palate is delicious. It's not an overpowering chocolate flavor. And the almond and the caramel that are on it is not overpowering as well. It's just very nicely mixed together. I also love this last year too. So they've definitely been keeping the standard up with this.
Sorry about that. Not talking. Not a liquid in my mouth. Oh, let me just get a drink of this. I love It's been a very long day. Long day. And been sitting in odd positions for a lot of it. Okay, so definitely give a 4 for this. For me, maybe even a 4 or 5. Somewhere in between. Depends on how cold it is when you get to it. So excuse me. But yeah, definitely a fan favorite. They've had this now 3 years in a row. I think it was the 20th anniversary that they had it for the first time over at the Eats area. And they just sort of been moving it around since then. Oh my goodness, sorry. Luckily, we're almost done here. Okay, so next up here is a chocolate torte.
Raspberry torte.
A sweet dark chocolate raspberry torte. Thank you. And I bit my tongue. Good grief! I'm not doing well. Definitely taste the raspberry. At first you just taste the chocolate, then it works its way back and you get this raspberry in the back end. It's not too sweet, not too heavy. It's got that raspberry seed thing going on though. Give it a 3.5, I guess, for me. It's not as rich, it's not as complex as some of the other dishes, but still quite good. Not overly sweet. A lot of problem with a lot of people do with their chocolate dishes is very, very sweet, and this is not that.
I would say it's a 4.5. I would very much enjoy this any day as a dessert. So it's just melts in your mouth. The raspberry flavor is not overpowering. It's delicious. They use some damn good chocolate. It's good.
Okay. Next up, we're almost done.
Last thing.
2 more things here. We have the Cabernet Sauvignon, the Justin Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm not a big fan of cabs. Just tried a bit there while I was dying in the background. It's a cab. Um,
Oh,
I'd probably give it a 2.5, maybe even a 2. It's what I'd expect from a cab. Nothing too crazy. It could be because we just had all this chocolate that it's a little bit numb, but it's just a Cabernet Sauvignon. I would expect it from a normal bottle of cab. Nothing too crazy.
I have nothing really much to say except maybe a 1.5 on it.
Okay, last we have here the Banfi Rosé Regale. I've had this many times. I even keep a bottle of it myself. So it's a good note to end on. I'm not a big champagne person, so I prefer this instead. It's a bubbly, sweet red rosé, but it's more red than most rosés are. Nice and sweet, strawberry overtones. Quite good. Yeah, I have to give this one probably a 4.25 out of it. Definitely a fan favorite. It is a little pricey, so I did use one of these guys on it. But definitely try. It's available in most places, so you can pick it up yourself and get it. It's in a nice shaped bottle.
It's a nice compliment to the dark chocolate desserts. I would give it a 4. I enjoy this. We usually have it for New Year's Eve instead of champagne.
So that is the end of the Wine and Dine Chocolate Studio, Cheese Studio, fancy, dancy area. If I don't die at this point, because I'm sure as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to get a huge coughing fit. And we'll try to finish this food here, and as long as it doesn't get too late or we pass out too much here, we'll try to get a little bit more done. I'm not sure if we're going to get many more routes done today, but we're going to try. For you guys watching the videos. Yeah. Anyway, this is Tasel, and I'll see you guys hopefully in a bit. Bye.